Welcome to another Women's History Month edition of Fun Fact Friday with Kate Mark Law. Did you know about Gwen Jimmere? Did you know that she was born June 7, 1982, and grew up in Cleveland, Ohio? Did you know that she changed the game in 2015 when she became the first Black woman to be awarded a patent for a natural hair care product? That's right. Before this woman, the entire natural care line didn't exist, unless you were in your local hood beauty store, and Black women were stuck using chemical relaxers and heat to do their hair, sometimes irreparably damaging it in the process. Now, if you aren't Black, you may be asking yourself, why would anyone damage their hair to get it done? To understand why this was the case, it's important to understand the history of Black hair and Black hairstyles. In pre-colonial African societies, Black hair was seen as a symbol of a person's identity. During that time, there was a hairstyle for everyone and every occasion, whether you were royalty, a soldier going off to war, or a mother about to give birth. There was even a hairstyle for women waiting for their men to come back from war. A person could even tell who they were talking to simply by looking at their hairstyle. Your family, your tribe, all had their own specific hairstyle. In addition, your hairstyle would be more elaborate if you held a higher place in society. But then, of course, slavery. Slavery happened. And when the transatlantic slave trade began, traditions on Black hair were erased, and a new set of meanings were imposed onto Black people's hair, particularly by their new white slave owners. Their hair was one of these physical attributes that white people at the time could easily point to and say, "Look at their hair. It's more animal than our hair is. That's what makes them inferior." The era of slavery, and the decades following it, also set the stage for much of the negative stereotyping around how Black people presented themselves, stereotyping that still persists today. Black women's beauty, for example, was depicted as negative. Black women were simply told that they weren't beautiful. Eurocentric beauty standards have consistently cast Black people as deviant or abnormal because they didn't fit into the narrowly defined parameters of how white people saw beauty. And so we went from loving our hair and carefully caring for our hair to covering up our hair and trying to emulate European styles. But not because we thought that they were pretty. There was none of that. The emulation of European styles was to push back against the idea that we were inferior or animalistic. If white slave owners were going to tell us that our hair is what makes us inferior, then we say, well, if I can make my hair look like yours, then I'm not inferior. I'm just like you. This attitude led to an emulation by Black people of European styles. But because our hair isn't meant to do that, we needed chemicals and special circumstances to create this scenario. And by the 50s and 60s, Black hairstyles became an intricate part of Black liberation movements. African Americans had grown frustrated with the racism they were facing in society and with the futility of their own efforts to try to fit in with their hair just to survive. Eventually, enough Black people said, "This isn't working. It doesn't matter what we do. We're still being killed, lynched, disrespected, and not allowed to move forward." And during this time, the Afro rose to prominence as one of the leading Black hairstyles. The Afro was less about style and was more a form of protest to say, "I'm not going to straighten my hair anymore." So Black Afros that we associate with people like Angela Davis or the Black Panthers or the Civil Rights Movement in general really became a symbol of resistance. The resurgence of these ideals occurred with racial injustices and the policing of Black hair in the modern era. I'm sure everyone's heard of dreadlock bans and the like in schools. And Gwen led the way. She decided to stop using toxic chemical hair relaxers for her hair, but this led to her having to spend a long time washing, conditioning, and deep conditioning her hair, and like all Black people, she sought to cut down on this time she needed to do her hair. This inspired her to develop a formula for natural hair care products that significantly reduced the time it took to clean and care for her hair, and made her hair more healthy at the same time. She created her Moroccan Rasoul 5-in-1 clay treatment, which was an all-in-one cleanser, deep conditioner, leave-in conditioner, and a tangler. Rossul clay comes from the Atlas Mountains in Morocco and is used in skincare, hair care, and other beauty products. She mixed it with high-quality natural oils, deionized water, and other ingredients to create a healthy hair product. Did you know she took her patent from the formula she created, developed other hair care products, and founded her beauty company, Naturalicious? Did you know that she did all of this from her kitchen? After being laid off from Ford Motor Company, being left with only $32 following an abusive marriage and a contentious divorce, and was a single mother? Did you know that she marketed and sold her Naturalicious products to her local Whole Foods on her own? And soon was selling in other stores, salons, and beauty supply stores too? Did you know she's been featured on television and her hair care line is now global? Did you know that she employs special needs workers on her production lines? Did you know she also co-founded Pitchproof, a consulting firm that teaches aspiring entrepreneurs how to patent their inventions and provides advice on how to grow their business? Did you know that at first, she had no clue she was making history as the first Black woman to be awarded a patent for natural hair care products? Did you know any of this? Well, now you do. Gwen Jimmere, the mother of modern Black natural hair care products, a facilitator of Black hair and identity, the woman who's provided natural hair care to Black women around the world, jobs to those with special needs, and advice to young inventors seeking to follow in her footsteps. The subject of our Fun Fact Friday. Protect your brand, grow your business. Trademark Law Fun Fact Friday, Women's History Month edition.